Okay, so something that it took me an embarrassingly long time to understand is that the blood that is going through the chambers of the heart does not actually nourish the heart. So the heart is pumping it, but it is not getting to the heart capillaries. The chambers of the heart are not directly connected to the heart capillaries, because in order to get to a capillary, you have to go from an artery to arterioles to capillary beds. So the heart actually gets its blood from pumping it outside the heart and then delivering it back to the capillaries. And how much blood does it need? A lot. The heart is usually around 1/200th of your body weight-ish, but it receives about 1/20th of all of your blood pumped. So a disproportionate amount of blood for sure. So the heart muscle itself is not nourished by blood being pumped through the chambers. It's too thick, doesn't diffuse through the chambers, and the chambers inside are not hooked up to the capillaries of the heart. So counterintuitively, at least for a young Melanie who didn't get it for a really long time, what has to happen is the blood actually has to be pumped out into the aorta. Okay, that's where all systemic blood is going to come from. And then the first two branches of the aorta, 1 and 2, go to the heart. Okay, so the heart gives itself first dibs on oxygenated blood. So you've got to pump it out of the heart, and then it's got to deliver blood back to the heart. So those vessels, those first two vessels that give rise to the blood supply to the heart, are called the left coronary artery. Corona means crown, and they kind of go around the heart like a crown. And then the right coronary artery. And then branching from those is almost all of the blood supply to the heart, although we don't talk in this class about blood supply to the atria very much. The ventricles are hogs for blood. They are really, really energetically and oxygen expensive. So what is going to happen is the blood is going to go through the left coronary artery, right? And it's being delivered down. And then the left coronary artery is going to split into the circumflex artery, and the circumflex artery is going to wrap around the back of the heart. And then it's also going to split into this one, which is called the anterior interventricular artery, which is a really, really important one because it delivers most of the blood supply to the left ventricle, which is really a hardworking, thick, energetically expensive chamber. That the other commonly used name for that artery in clinical situations is the LAD, the left anterior descending artery. Okay, and then the right coronary artery, this guy right here, it kind of pokes behind. It's actually under the auricle, and then it pokes out right here. Okay, the right coronary artery runs in the coronary sulcus that runs all the way around the heart. And it is going to give rise to two arteries that you need to know. This one that's called the marginal artery, or sometimes right marginal, although sometimes they leave off right because there isn't a left one. This is the one that like goes down the margin of the heart, and you're seeing it right there. And then it's going to wrap around. The right coronary artery is going to wrap around the backside and then give rise to another artery called the posterior interventricular artery that runs in the posterior interventricular sulcus. So before we go into the veins, I want to show you this on intact hearts with everything visible. Okay, so what do you see of the left coronary artery on an intact heart? You really can only see it like right here. Most of it is snuggled up under that auricle. So that's the little bitty bit of the left coronary artery. It is actually, if you followed it, it's actually coming out from the base and then going behind, although I can't draw behind. It's going behind that pulmonary trunk. Okay, so that's the left coronary artery. And then this guy right here, this red one right here, that is the anterior interventricular artery that's delivering most of the blood supply to the left ventricle. And then this guy right here is the circumflex artery, but the circumflex artery you can also see from a posterior view. So the circumflex artery is also going to wrap around and you can see it sort of continuing right here, okay, on the left side. Don't usually label it over there though. Okay, what about the other ones? What about the other arteries? The other arteries. Okay, so the right coronary artery is coming out. It's coming out right there. Oops, sorry, I keep doing that. It's coming out right there and then poking under the auricle. And then it's still right coronary artery as it's running in the coronary sulcus. It's still the right coronary artery. So the left one you can't label very much because it's really only left before it splits right there on the other side, but the right coronary artery continues in the coronary sulcus, and then it gives rise to the marginal artery, which is right there, also called the right marginal, and your textbook isn't even consistent about marginal versus right marginal. But then the marginal or right marginal artery also continues around the backside. Okay. Not right marginal. The right coronary artery continues around the backside. So it's still called right coronary artery as it is in the coronary sulcus back there. Okay. And then that gives rise to this one, which is the posterior interventricular artery that runs in the posterior interventricular sulcus, which is the posterior boundary between the left ventricle and the right ventricle. Okay, but now what we have to do is we have to deliver the blood. So all of those arteries are delivering blood to the capillaries of the heart. So if you go back to this figure for just a second, you can see that the heart has a really rich capillary network in it. So all of this is delivering oxygenated blood to the capillaries of the heart. And then the heart is going to use up that oxygen. And then I'm going to have to deliver blood back to the heart. But again, I'm going to have to deliver it back to through venules and veins, and then all the way back into the chamber that should receive deoxygenated blood, which is which chamber? It's the right atrium. So there's not very many veins that you guys have to know. We'll find them here, and then we'll find them the other place as well. So the veins that you have to know are this one. This is the great cardiac vein. That's number 1. That runs in the anterior interventricular sulcus with the anterior interventricular artery. And then this one that's on the back, number 2, the middle cardiac vein. That one is delivering blood back up. So we're going back toward the heart. Blood's going up through those. The middle cardiac vein is on the backside of the heart. It is in the posterior interventricular sulcus, running with the posterior interventricular artery. And then that third one here is called the small cardiac vein. So if you go 1, 2, 3, start with great, then the middle one is around the back, and then the small one is around the front again. Great, middle, small. So the small cardiac vein usually runs near, but not necessarily with, the marginal artery. And then where are they all dumping? They are all dumping into that big vessel that we've already learned called the coronary sinus. And the coronary sinus is delivering blood this way because it is actually going to dump into the right atrium. Okay, so let's find these vessels on intact hearts. Okay, so the arteries we already found. The veins, a lot of them run with the arteries. Okay, so this guy right here is the great cardiac vein. And the great cardiac vein runs in the anterior interventricular sulcus with the anterior interventricular artery, and blood is running that direction through the great cardiac vein. Okay, the other one that you can see from this view that you need to know is this guy right here, which is the small cardiac vein, and that's going to deliver blood into the coronary sinus. And then to see the others, you need a posterior view. Okay, for the posterior view, the last one we have to pick up is this guy right here, which is the middle cardiac, I'm going to do it every damn time, middle cardiac vein. it's delivering blood up that direction into the coronary sinus, which is this guy. Coronary sinus is delivering blood this direction into the right atrium. Okay, so the other important thing to know is that when blood is pushed from your ventricles into your arteries, it goes into the arteries, but it actually doesn't get to the capillaries unless you relax the chambers of the heart. So when you push it into the arteries, it goes into the arteries, but the capillaries are compressed, kind of like a sponge underwater. So when does the sponge actually pick up the water? When you relax. So the heart needs to both contract to put blood in the arteries, but then relax to get blood into the capillaries. So heart chamber relaxation is just as important as heart chamber contraction. Okay, just a teeny little clinical note about this. What happens if one of these arteries gets blocked because of arteriosclerosis, high cholesterol, hypertension, gunking up your arteries with all of that stuff? So what happens if one of these gets blocked? Well, you could cut off blood flow to the cardiac muscle, which will often cause a heart attack. And if you know that it has occurred before the heart attack has occurred, you can say, okay, blood is reduced 80%, 90%. And what you can do is you can choose to bypass. So let's say the blockage was like right here, okay? What you could do is you could bypass by putting in another vessel that you took from, I don't know, they use the mammary artery in males because they're not really using it for very much. Or they can use part of your great saphenous vein. And what it would do is it would say, okay, there's a blockage right here. And so blood can't get down here. I'm going to attach a vessel from here to here, and I'm going to bypass the blockage. So that is kind of what you're seeing in this picture. So you've got some coronary bypasses. There's a triple bypass. They are attached usually, there are exceptions, but often directly to your aorta, and they bypass the blocked vessels. And this is at least a triple bypass in this picture. Okay.